Now let's talk about how I set my depth. For forever and ever, the consensus was to take your depth at about 3 feet to the bottom. Say if you're in 20 foot of water, put the depth on 23. That way you maximize your screen. Well, after a lot of research and a lot of on the water testing, and I didn't come up with this on my own. I've looked at a bunch of different videos, and I've watched and spent a lot of time on the water. And I will say this: I take the depth and I add about 10 foot. So let's get into that, and we'll talk about why I do that. But I am just of the belief that it creates a better picture. All right, let's get into this, because forever and ever when you first chose depth, I mean, it's how I was taught. Everybody always said, take your depth, whatever that may be, and in this case, about 11 foot. You would set it on, say, 14 foot. Add about 2 to 3 foot, and that would maximize your screen. Well, one thing we have found through time, or at least I have, and seen from some of the best forward-facing sonar anglers in the world, is that that's not necessarily the best way. The Livescope transducer is a chirp style transducer, and it gives power based on the depth in which it thinks you're in. For example, if you tell it you're in 14 foot of water, it'll give you 14 foot of power. It gives you the amount of power that it needs, that it thinks it needs to make a good picture. But what I have found, and this is not only my idea. I've seen this, and in one angler in particular, he uses it to the best of the degree, is to take your depth and add about 10 feet. Now, this will cut down on your screen size. But one thing that I have noticed by cutting down on your screen size is you're asking the unit, for example, if you're in 11 foot of water, you're telling the unit you're in 21 foot of water, so it's going to give more power. Now, by giving more power, you're going to get better detail, better target separation, and a cleaner picture. That is something that we're all striving for. Now, when you for example, as I go up and down, the particles in the water will appear. It gets a lot fuzzier. The screen gets a lot fuzzier. But secondly, it also blows the screen out. If you're in 11 foot and you put it on 13, everything looks big and blown out. By putting it on 11 foot, if you're in 11 foot of water, putting it on about 20, 21 foot depth, what it does is it's going to clean the picture up. The fuzz will kind of clean up by two ways. It's making it smaller on the screen, but you're also increasing the power, which will help kind of blast through the algae and things in the water. So it's kind of a two-way door. You actually gain two things by doing this. And then I have noticed that not only do I get better detail with my jigs and my baits, and the fish will actually get better detail. I'm going to get better target separation around, say, trees and brush piles and things like that. As you'll see as I'm going down, notice how that bottom got fuzzier, and it wasn't as crisp. But then when you go up, that bottom's a lot more crisp. You can actually see a fish at about 26 foot right here swimming. You can actually see the swimming action of the fish. And then when you put that down to, say, 2 or 3 feet below the surface, you can still see the fish, but look at the bottom. Look how it's not as crisp. Look, it's fuzzier. You also notice the particles in the water appear more. And I have just found that it's better. Now, even, I used to think that this was only for a bass fishing thing, but over time I have found it to be an everything thing. It creates a better picture, and that has a lot to do with the chirp style transducer. And I know you're going to give up a little bit of your screen size, but trust me, what you give up in screen size is well worth the advantages that you're going to gain in detail, target separation, and crispness of your picture. And by doing that way you can actually take color gain and noise reduction TVG, and use those to clean up your picture even more.